in Cape Town can still enjoy the beaches. The city has been exempt, and the province, much of the province, from beach and park closures. But as with the rest of South Africa, people are still expected to comply with safety protocols. To monitor this, the Police Minister Bheki Cele is visiting 9 beaches in the city, and eNCA's Lindsay Dentlinger is covering that, and they are now in Camps Bay, where the minister is doing a walkabout there. Lindsay, what specifically is Bheki Cele and the rest of the officials who are there, what exactly are they looking out for?
Well, Tulas, as you pointed out, this is one of the cities where the beaches are open today, very contentious that other cities are not allowed to have people on the beaches today. So I'm just going to step a little bit closer so you can hear yourself what the minister is questioning people about, questioning lifeguards, disaster management on the beach, trying to determine from them what kind of regulations they are enforcing and how they are enforcing it, particularly people wearing masks, particularly people bringing alcohol onto the beaches. There's kind of questions he's posing to them. I'm just going to see if I can step a little bit closer so that you can hear.
Okay. This is more occupational, sir, because it's a full production company.
But it's clear, no music, because that will pull people together. There'll be no social distance. There'll be no mask. If you pull them together, that's why it's very clear, as the president reads, that there are no extra activities on the beach except beach goers doing their thing. So if you say, is the city that gave the permission for this? Yes, so we'll have to speak to the city. Then we'll have to speak to the city because there should be no social activities on the beach.
Just to clarify, so it's not a social activity, they're not gathering members of the public or anything like that. It's for a commercial.
Purely commercial food.
Yeah, so it's a regulated thing, who's in and out here. No members of the public are taking part. It's a commercial activity.
No, the long and short of what is being said here is that you will have to also show us the permit that allows you to do that, because there are regulations regulating what can be done and what cannot be done.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Tulas, as you can hear there, you know, the minister questioning certain activity happening on the beach. This, in particularly this building here, the structure being put up. The minister concerned that they are that it's not for any kind of social gathering. That people on the beaches are purely here to bathe and do beach-related kind of activity.
No any other thing. That was really read loud and clear. So anybody who gives any extra will have to really see that person.
So what we've been working on this for weeks already, so the city has known about it. And
well, these regulations came today, Monday.
Yeah,
so, and those regulations are for everybody else.
No, of course.
Yeah.
So we, where is the...
I think you went to go fetch the permit.
Yeah. So that if we see the permit, and then you are able to speak to the city. Otherwise, it's the city that is breaking the law.
Well, we are considered a workplace because we are a working environment. We're not a social environment. So we're under shoot protocols. We have shooting protocols.
No, I want to hear from the city those protocols, and then who gives them that right to give those protocols.
Oh, I understand. I mean, I can't answer that question.
Okay.
I just am waiting for my permit.
So, Tulas, as you can hear there, the minister wanting to see permits for this particular structure being built on Camps Bay Beach. As you've said previously, this is probably one of Cape Town's most popular beaches for tourists, and already bathers have come out in their numbers. It's probably one of the best beach days in the city so far this year.
Yeah.
So it is getting busy, and of course the minister and his contingent drawing a lot of attention, people calling out to him. I'm just going to step a little bit closer. This is the city's mayoral committee member for community services, Zahid Badruddin, speaking to the minister.
Today And then we've also got our identity staff over there who help with the tagging of the children, keeping them safe. Also to help remind about the COVID distancing, COVID educations. All of this you'll see at the busy beaches across the city, especially over our busy days. Yeah.
JP, how are you?
Are you all right? Yourself? Yes. Okay, good. So the film shoot is operating in terms of our new SOP. We produced a new standard operating procedure with the film industry so that they could carry on working, something we've talked about in the media quite a bit. This is a R1.5 million film shoot, so generating quite a few jobs, and it does operate completely in terms of that standard operating procedure. So we're quite excited about these. We managed to get going before many of the other cities around the world, and that managed to get some of our industry working again. Because unfortunately we're losing way too many jobs in this whole process. So it's another lives versus livelihoods to see if you can do both safely. But for the rest of it, you see law enforcement is present at all of our beaches.
No, before that,
we've got a fairly good distribution.
It's an extra activity that has been called to be no more extra activity on the beach on this particular case. People coming to the beach, I must concede, I'm glad about the social distancing, this I'm glad about, but I'm absolutely not glad about this one, which for me, it flies on the face of the regulation, having an extra activity on the beach, which the President and the regulation are saying they can be.
Okay, I'll have to agree to have a different interpretation on that. This isn't a permitted event. So the film shoot is permitted. It's gone through our whole process.
And permitted by the city?
By the city, so it is an officially permitted event.
The city cannot override the national...
We're not suggesting we're overriding it, sir. We're functioning within the parameters of those regulations. We're highly cognizant of the regulations, sir.
PJ, this can't continue.
It's JP, sir.
JP, it doesn't matter. But this can't continue. You just shut it down before I shut it down, because you are breaking the law. You know that your regulations do not allow you to go with...
I'm happy to take this up with the film officer, but I've just spoken to them and they've assured me that it is well within the regulations. The head of our film office, Mrs. D'Souza, I've just spoken to her and she's confirmed that it's well within the regulations, sir. So I'll check with her again.
Which regulation?
The national regulations that...
What are they saying?
So I'll check with her again and make sure that she's comfortable within the regulations.
Until we sit down and we agree on that, this can't continue. Okay.
Right. Sure. All right, sir. Enjoy your walkabout.
Tula, so there you've witnessed an altercation between, mind you step, the city's mayoral committee member for safety and security and the police minister, Bheki Cele, very unhappy that a structure being erected here for a film shoot, saying that no other activity is supposed to be taking place on the beach other than bathers coming to enjoy the beach, and that nothing else should be happening here. So these are the tensions running a little bit high here between the city and the minister as to exactly what is permitted and how those regulations are being interpreted.
Yeah, absolutely. Intergovernmental relations framework being tested right before our eyes, in the way that the national government interprets the regulations versus how the city and the province interpret it. Lindsay Dentlinger there out in Camps Bay and following Minister Bheki Cele, who's checking in on compliance there. There's always been the sort of tension that's there between the national government and the government of the Western Cape. Not always, but on certain issues, around issues to do with intergovernmental relations. You'll remember, I mean, you can go as far back as the whole situation with the water situation in Cape Town a few years ago. You'll know about the cry that the Western Cape has had for some time now for policing to sort of be given more powers at a provincial level and at a local level. So there's always that slight tension, sometimes healthy and sometimes really difficult. And as you saw there, that interaction between the minister and the provincial government leadership there, JP Smith, as well as the local government MMC there at the beach.